This is the second day of chapter 5.1. Yesterday we talked about finding the slope and rate of change of a table. Today we are going to do slope and rate of change of a line. So writing this down real fast, again, slope of a line, use the phrase rise over run. And then make sure you write this down for yourself that you will always run right, which means don't ever go this way. You will always run that way. Okay? A lot of people who mess up on their slope is because they go left, but you will always run right. Just remember that no matter what. Your rise could go up, it could also go down. We'll talk about that. But you will always go to the right whenever you count your steps. So looking at problem 1, and again, this is a very quick video. Just make sure you understand the information and that you're paying attention, except for on the right, this parts that you need to write down, but just kind of watch and make sure you get what's going on. So you're going to see a question that says find the slope of the line. And pretty much they're going to give you for now 2 spots that are on the graph. And again, your job is to recognize that the idea for a line is the phrase rise over run. And so you start from the left point. Always start from the left point and count how far down or up you have to go to get to the second point. Well, based off of what I have here, it takes 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps down, and 4 jumps down is -4. And it takes 1, 2 jumps to the right. Notice we always run right. And then you take -4 over 2 and divide them, and you get the slope of -2. It's that easy. You simply have to find the 2 dots, count what your rise is, count what your run is, and go from there. Okay? So looking at problem number 2, where it wants the slope of the line here also, notice it gives us 2 dots. Again, always start from the leftmost dot. Your rise is 1 up. Again, it's rise over run. Your rise is 1 up, which is a positive 1. Your run is 1, 2, 3 to the right. And so whenever you do 1 divided by 3, notice that you get a fraction or a decimal, so you hit math, enter, enter to see that it actually is 1/3 as your slope there. Alright. Third one here real fast, just to make sure you got the general idea, because this is the only new information for the day. Actually, it's not. There is a little bit more. Find the slope of the line. Again, it gives me a dot over here, a dot over here. And so what I do is go to that leftmost dot, the one that's on the left, and I count my rise over my run. I am going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, which again makes a -5. I am then going 2 to the right. Checking that out, -5 divided by 2 is a decimal, so hit math, enter, enter to turn it back into a fraction, and you see that you get -5/2 as your answer. Alright, that is how you do the slope of a line. Now you'll also be asked to do 2 points. So what it says on the right, this is your hint for how to do this. When find the slope of points, just put them into an XY table first, which we'll talk about. So again, write that down for yourself as we get ready to go. I don't think it should be that tough. I believe if everything went right, we should have talked about taking points and putting them into a table yesterday, but if not, it's really not that hard anyway. But looking at problem number 4, it wants to know about the slope of the line through the points 4, -3, and 6, 2. These are points. These are numbers. So what you can do is you can write an XY table and put the point in itself. So this is 4, -3. Notice how it stays in order. And then 6, 2. Now it's in the format that I'm used to, which is where I take this minus that. Remember I told you about subtracting? This is where it comes in. It's 2 minus -3, because that's a -3. Again, it's 2 minus -3, not 2 minus 3, but 2 minus -3 over 6 minus 4. If you want here, 2 minus parentheses -3 gives me +5. 6 over 6 minus 4 gives me 2. I think that's a fraction that's already reduced, but let's just use the math, enter, enter to make sure, and you see there that you do get the fraction of 5/2. So again, this minus that exactly as it is. If there's a negative, just put a parentheses and another negative, and then this minus that, just like we did yesterday. The only difference is that today we're starting to get some negative signs involved, and things are starting to get more realistic for you. So problem 5 is doing the same thing. It wants to know the slope of the line through the points -1, -3, and 5, -1. Again, if they give you points, make an XY table. -1, -3, 5, negative 1. Again, just take the points and transfer them into a table. And again, you do this minus that first because that's what we did for our table. Negative 1 minus negative 3 over 5 minus negative 1. If you can do that, you should be okay. Then you type it in, negative 1 minus negative 3, which is 2. 5 minus negative 1, which is 6. And then we go ahead and see what this is. 2 divided by 6 is 0.333, so we hit math, enter, enter, which gives us the answer of 1/3. So again, find the slope of a line is new today. Find the slope of 2 points, which is kind of new, but again, if you think about the fact that if we just put it back into the table like what we learned yesterday, just make sure whenever you're subtracting a negative that you put the minus and then a second negative. Don't put negative 1 minus 3 because that's not what it is. It's negative 1 minus negative 3, 5 minus negative 1, and as long as you do that, you should be able to get through the information pretty clean. So other than that, as usual, good luck. Make sure you are working for the 100% on your computers, and don't stop working on your computers until you have a 100%. Doing anything differently could get you into some trouble. So again, if you're asking each other for help, if you're asking me for help, that's one thing. Just make sure you're working to get done, and that way we can all work on passing this quarter and getting out of this class for next year. Good luck.